All right. Now, welcome back to lecture 2. We covered the first lecture to understand why imbalance happens. But now we're discussing about how to move from exploiting resources to exploring our resourcefulness. So let's look into that now. Does it look like? Just like this, lecture 2. Please bear with me. From exploiting resources to exploring our resourcefulness. No introduction is needed now because we have done the first lecture. We have done the promo, so we are in the third interaction kind of touch point with me. And I left you with this slide in first lecture, right? So this is the major human nature that creates human bondage, human interactions that create this kind of cycle. So that was the reason that you have to understand why you have to have constant renewal, constant transformation. Right? So what is happening so far is that we are exploiting only. The corporations are also exploiting only. The government is also only exploiting. So the idea is I can do as I please with my property. Social and environmental consequences be damned. That means no care for social and environmental consequences. In the name of liberty, we are suffering from individualism. We're not against liberty. We highly value that, honestly, more than anything else. But we are not respecting the society, respecting the environment in the name of liberty. That is more or less, it's not freedom. It is more or less, it's like enough being irresponsible or not caring at all. Laissez-faire type and not caring at all. Every person and every institution striving to get the most for himself or herself and over the needs of society and threaten. It's amazingly challenging why and how businesses for so long did not think this in a detailed way. T.S. Eliot wrote famously that we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. That's a mistake, said first time. The integration involves invention, and the clever thing is to recognize this and not to let one's thinking stay within the boundaries of two alternatives, which are mutually exclusive. In other words, never let yourself be bullied by an either-or situation. Find a third way. So now what is happening in the society? Neither the public sector is functioning well, nor the private sector is functioning well. We have been given these choices for the decision making or voting or anything that we have choice as an individual person in society. But nobody has actually thought about, they have thought, but that has not been massive or that has not been marketed in a massive way, the third way. And that's what we're trying to do. The three pillars to support a balanced society are neither left nor right. Left means communist oriented, right means too much capitalistic oriented in this context. The consequences of left and right makes people see things into black and white. Everything has black and white. So what is happening? We are, like, even if you look into from US perspective, we're paralyzed. We are into paralyzed politics. There are checks and balances in political system, in judiciary. Also there is with the government. But the challenge how to balance the society is not clear. And what happened? The power went to the entitled, protesting what is while confusing what should be. Behind most of the protests, what is happening in East and West everywhere, North and South, left and right. This should be obvious to anyone who cares to get it. People have had it with social impact. The idea is that while Constitution gave the whole balance, check and balance in American system, also in around the world, nowadays we are seeing there are constitutions, there are bodies that safeguard everything for the society, for the government and judiciary, and then also the executive body, that means the government. But how to balance the society in a fruitful manner has not been manifested in a scalable manner so that we can get rid of inequality, let's say. This is the cry. This is the cry in the Black Lives Matter also, or now we call it All Lives Matter, and all other movements that we have seen. Okay. For that, you have to have plural sector. That's the idea we are pushing forward as a very strong force. And private sector, that is fine. Whatever we have developed through capitalistic system, that is working fine to the level that it should work in profit-making engine. But we need to make them responsible. And then public sector, that should be also in a check and balance, not only by the constitutional bodies like judiciary and then government and then the legislative councils, houses like parliament also and so forth. Not only that, but these political forces also need to work in tandem, in balance with private sector and plural sector. Now, what we are seeing now is that neither public sector is functioning well, nor private sector is functioning well, so that now the civil society, that is the social sector, they are actually coming into the street, not the political opponents, not the opposite parties, opposing parties, but what is happening is that civil societies are actually running the movements. This is a good thing in a level that there is this kind of sense and the consciousness in the society that we are getting this imbalance in the society and we have to balance it. Okay. So the plural sector. So this sector has been existing for ages, but what is happening is that it has been labeled with third sector, NGOs, INGOs, cooperatives, all movements. So Henry Mintzberg has combined all of these civil society movements or the aspects into a single label called plural sector. Okay? So now this is kind of what is actually helping us. Communism taught us that a society with hardly any private property cannot function effectively. That we have understood long ago. But capitalism is also teaching us that a society with hardly anything but private property may not be much better either. We can see like the inequality that is from economic terms or in social terms or in or even in environmental justice terms. All of these factors show that indicates that perhaps the state has to do something on that side also, so that capitalism can be checked. We'll get into a case from Finland, how cooperatives movement have actually built that check and balance for the free market economy. Perhaps it goes against the Adam Smith's invisible hand concept, but still, government has not intervened in those cases as destroying the invisible hand, but it has enabled a new mechanism, not only the corporations, but the cooperatives that may actually function together with each other and then balance each other. Community shifts is the very good idea in plural sector. right? The most effective organizations generally function as communities of human beings, not collections of human resources. Like in multinationals, we are called human resource management or human resources all the time. We're not human beings, but just a resource. Community argues hardly at all in a prevailing dogma that favors economic scale, no matter what are the social consequences. But corporates do the just opposite. Having said that, there is nothing wrong in private enterprises. They are good as an engine of profit making and reward system and everything. But to build balance in the society, that's what we are talking about. I'm not talking against the corporations. I am the product of the whole multinational thinking and capitalistic thinking. But when we saw this imbalance in the society, we started to think what could be done. So this is one angle that was touched upon from the Mintzberg's writing. And now another wave is also very, very mesmerizing. People are not able to think. Many people are besieged by the technology, undermined by the technology. They're so busy texting and tweeting that they barely have time for meeting and reading. So what kind of society we are actually building? Thanks to all digitalization, there is a new wave, like you can actually have more online interactions also, but that is not the same as we have physical face-to-face interactions and understanding and solidarity. So lessons learned, the plural sector is not a third way between the other two sectors. This is how the plural sector, existing plural sector has been labeled, the third sector, the third way, the third thing. But to repeat what needs repeating, one of three ways required to rebalance society. That means this is a tripod. If private and public are two legs of all chair, then third leg is actually plural sector. This is the only guard against populism which is on the rise. Hopefully it works. And when these ideas actually spread through the courses and through the writings and discussions and sharing, perhaps the change happens. So the point is balance even possible? Why not? You can complete the whole American Revolution and you can still believe in American dream and achieve American dream by establishing checks on private sector activities for the sake of balance across the society. Okay? That's the hope. We have it in our power to begin the world over again. So true, again, now. Thank you. See you in the next lecture on radical renewal. We'll go into little detail and look into what can be done at each and every piece and how we can go further from there. Hopefully you enjoyed this slideshow, though I was showing the slides, not having a very big picture of myself there and showing the fish on the other side, but perhaps the idea was clear. That we need to have radical renewal of the plural sector, not as a third wave, not as a third wave, whatever we call it, but a very strong pillar of the society. That is the only way we can rebalance the society. Okay, thank you for watching. We'll get into the next lecture. See you there.